Ай, ебать, трудился, блядь.
An accident in which your client, as a pedestrian or a motorcyclist or an automobile operator, is involved with a big rig can be very severe types of accidents because if you consider the weight and the size of a tractor trailer or another large truck as opposed to a person who's on a motorcycle or even in a car, it just doesn't match up. These types of accidents are the kinds of accidents that if the injuries warrant it, the attorney has to do discovery. If there's major injuries, fractures, or disc bulges, disc herniations, or even cases where someone is paralyzed or is killed, the attorney has to make sure that they do his homework and that they make sure that you can document that not only is the truck driver at fault or the truck company at fault, but that perhaps there was lapses in maintenance or other matters which I'll get into in a moment. Now, when these accidents occur and the injuries are severe, the main thing involving an insurance company for a truck driving company or a trucking company is that they usually have major limits on their insurance, anywhere from $1 million to $5 million, sometimes $10 million. If it's a big enough company, it may be almost unlimited if you have a market or something of that nature, a department store. So if the injury is severe enough, you have to make sure that you do not settle your case short or simply settle the case when you could get more from a jury when you go to trial. Some of the things you should try to discover if the case does go to litigation, if it does not settle out of court, you should go to the trucking company's maintenance logs. Many of these things are on computer, they're in databases. You can find out how frequently they maintain the truck's brakes or the truck in general. You can find out about the driving logs as far as the driver goes. There's a certain number of hours that a driver can drive without having rest. If they go over this, driver fatigue becomes a factor in accidents. Also, many of these larger trucks have computers built into the trucks, and they will show you, the maintenance records or something of this nature. And these are things you have to discover because frequently, when a big rig is involved in an accident, what will happen is the large truck may cause an accident or sideswipe your client's vehicle, and the truck driver may not even know he hit your client or may not admit that he caused the accident. So what you have to try to show is because there's not always witnesses, what you have to try to show is that there's some other lapse by the trucking company. Again, there's also computers nowadays in some of these big trucks that can show the time in which the braking started on a truck until the time that the impact actually occurred, the speed a truck was going immediately before the accident, or the speed it was going before it started braking and the speed it was going when the impact occurred. A lot of these data can be accessed through the trucking company's logs. So I think that this is something that every attorney should do when they have a case that's large enough that warrants it, that they should do this type of discovery so you can submit these types of records to your own experts, and then from that you can make a determination that they did violate laws or they did violate safe practices that are custom and practice in the industry, and help to get the major recovery that your client deserves.